Dan, do you ever get tinnitus?
Tinnitus? Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
That's how I say it.
That can't be right. I can't. My left ear is just ringing. I can't do it. It's been ringing all day. I don't know what to do. How do I get rid of it?
You don't want to watch the one movie where the guy uses an ice pick.
What?
It's just a thing you learn to live with.
No. Nope, that's not the right answer. I'm looking for a different answer, Dan. Option B, please. What's behind the second door? Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's like watching, yeah!
We should probably get right into this.
You should probably get right into it. Okay, sorry.
What does that mean?
I just kept talking, and it looked like you were getting ready. You did the like you get ready because you breathe in deep because you get all excited.
Welcome to Watching with Dan and Tony. Tony's in the middle of blah 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 blah. Ready to go. Show's ready to go. Show's ready to go.
I just miss you so much every week, Dan. And when you're getting, I just want to talk your ears off. Are you doing the theme song?
Ears.
I only got one ear today. I only got one. This one's good.
So it's Dan and Tony hate watching with said Dan and Tony's.
Dan and Tony, hate watching with. Yep, that's the official title.
Each week we watch a movie when we convene to talk about the movie. And this week, Tony got to pick a movie, and he picked a movie. He's a mensch and picked such a good movie for his boy Dan Goodsell.
Don't tell anyone I never did anything for you, Dan. For ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Twilight Month.
the Twilight Saga month. One month of saga.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good. What's going on over here?
So
okay.
we'd watch one of the other Twilight movies, the first Twilight movie.
Well,
before.
We watched Twilight. The Twilight. Is it The Twilight? It's got to be The Twilight.
The Twilight, absolutely.
And it was a delight. Dan loves it because he's a complete nutter. He's totally off his rocker in his old age here. And honestly, it's a real fun time. It's not a good movie. Don't listen to Dan. If you're out there and you haven't seen it, it's not good, but it is fun. It is fun. And this one's got some nice things to look at. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
This is Beefcake Tony's movie.
Oh my God. Jacob never puts on a shirt, and I love it. Good for him. I mean, that kid got... Is that real? You think this is all real? Are there any digital effects on that bod? Because holy shnikes. Fucking chiseled.
He's a good-looking 17-year-old.
Is he underage?
Well, that's supposedly he's 17 years old in this movie.
But I guess I should look up how old he is in real life before I get too sexually interested.
I was driving around with Shannon, and I was like, "Yeah, Taylor Lautner." You know, I was like, because I couldn't remember his name, and she's like, "His name's Taylor Lautner." I'm like, "He's a friend of the show," and she's like, "A friend of the show."
He's a friend of the show. Shannon, he's friend of the show. Taylor, if you're out there, come on to the pod. The kids will love it.
So now, did he date Taylor Swift?
Listen, I believe so, but also we might be conflating it just because they're romantically paired in that movie we watched.
Yeah, but they wanted to put her in this movie. She tried to get into this movie.
Oh,
they were gonna give her a cameo because I was looking up because spoilers when they go to Italy. And the Voltairi thing, she's pushing through all the people in red, and there's like right at the end, there's this like one woman who's like, "Arr!" And I was like, is that the author of the book, like in a cameo?
Sure.
So I searched cameo, and all the things were. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. All the other things were talking about how Taylor Swift tried to get a cameo, and they wouldn't let her because it would have been too distracting. It's like, huh?
Yeah. No, it would have been very distracting for me. It was kind of like when that Ed guy was on Game of Thrones. Ed Sheeran just randomly pops up in Game of Thrones or
Does
whatever.
he?
And you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing in the show? It don't make any sense. He's just a soldier on the side of the road. No, that's Ed Sheeran. I know exactly who that is. It is distracting. It is distracting.
You can't do that thing. So we're doing Twilight. We're doing New Moon, which is the second of the Twilight, and then we're going to do the third, the fourth, and the fifth.
Which I did one before. I thought there was only 4. Now there's a whole nother one. I don't know. I'm a little upset about it.
I'm loving it.
Dan's loving it.
I mean,
listen, it's the most fun I've had in a while. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Is it as good as the first one? No, the first one's really kind of a perfect movie.
Okay. I feel like we need to have like lower thirds that describe what you actually mean to the people as opposed to what you're saying, which is like it's a fine for what it is. It's fine, it's okay. This one, almost no plot to this movie whatsoever.
This movie is this. This is like what fan fiction really is. This is just like a run-on sentence that like you're like, and what happens next? And we're gonna actually have something happen. Now something is happening. Now we're just talking. We're just
in Italy. And now we're back from Italy immediately. And her dad was like, "Hey, where did you disappear for 3 days? I can't remember this doesn't make. She's a kid. What's happening?" But I haven't laughed this hard in a long time, so I'm on board, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
You were surprised they didn't. Oh yeah, we're going to take you to the teleport chamber so you can get to Italy very fast.
yeah. No, apparently they took a plane. Is that? Let's listen.
Oh no, they
let's
had a
not
plane.
get too far ahead. They had a plane shot, so I'm assuming they were on the plane, but they didn't show me them on the plane. They just showed me a plane.
This was.
Oh no, Dan, you're muted.
I pushed the button.
It's okay. You're back.
This is my face when they were on the plane.
What are we going? What's happening? Also, I want to say 2 friends of the show are on this podcast. I don't know if you caught it, but Jamie, what is his name? Jamie Campbell Bauer, also in the film.
Who's Jamie? Oh, is he the other? He's the other.
Yeah.
I knew that was someone we knew.
What are they called?
Like,
the Vittori?
The Voltairi.
The Voltairi. I'll never get that right. Thanks for pointing that. But yeah, he's the weird one in the corner. Yeah, super good.
I thought Matt Smith was the other one for a little while, and then he talked. And I was like, Matt Smith.
Sure. Yeah, their face is similar, but this is the guy that is creepy and everything. He's like super tall, and he's got that long Frankenstein-y face, and he's so weird. He's so weird. He was in Hell on Wheels. Did you ever watch that show? Ooh, bonkers. He is crazy. Anyhow.
Twilight New Moon, the second of them. I was watching it on Hulu, the normal version, 2 hours, 10 minutes, and then Hulu just stopped working. It was like, no more you.
No.
So I had to I rented it on Amazon, 2 hours and 17 minutes extended. So I got a bonus 7 minutes.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what you saw that I didn't see then, because I did not watch an extended version. If anything, I would like to watch the condensed version, which would be about 6 minutes of story. Conservatively, 6 minutes of story.
So we start with the full moon titles. Nice titles. We do These Violent Delights Have Violent Ends. Okay.
Yeah, great.
Bella's walking through the Red Road people, which is telling us there's going to be a future thing where she's with the Red. I figured that was going to be in another movie, but it's in this movie.
Nope, it's in this movie. Don't worry, it's going to happen in about 1 hour 45.
Her grandmother's in the flowers and being weird.
I don't listen. This intro was very confusing to me. But also, I just want to say before the movie even starts, the slow reveal of New Moon took about 4 minutes of runtime for no reason. It's 2 words, guys. Just say New Moon, but it's like N-E-W, and we all knew what was coming.
Goes backwards too.
Yeah, it goes backwards. N-O-M. Oh, I can't spell backwards.
Tony. So she's having this weird, freaky dream. Edward's in there, like doing Edwardy stuff, a little bit of sparkle,
Just looking like a complete toolbox. Yep.
So sexy.
Dan, hold on. Before we even begin, I need to know for real, in this movie, you think he's more attractive than Taylor Lautner?
There's a shot near the end of the movie where maybe it's where they're having their final bitch fest, which like is really weird. But we have Taylor sort of like over him, and then he's there like Taylor's pretty tanned.
He grew up. Yeah, he grew up.
Yeah, so when he has just this beautiful body color, and then what's his name? Pattinson's just pretty pale, not hyper pale, but very pale, and then she's there sort of not in the middle, but leaning more towards being alive.
Sure. Just a little.
You can see the sexuality of like both of these things. Is Pattinson like the most good-looking guy? No, but he's exuding something.
No, he's not. He's so weird. When he takes his shirt off later, his nipples are all like pointing the wrong direction. He's so weird. His body is weird. His face is weird. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't. Team Jacob, this kid is an Adonis.
So she wakes up from the weird dream. There's Dad. He got her a camera for her birthday. It's her birthday.
It's a great
not
gift.
Wrapped. Thought it was really nice. Thought it was like, and her mom got her a scrapbook, and he does a you've got a gray hair bit, which she freaks out.
Which I laughed. I thought it was funny.
Once again, the dad-daughter dynamic in this movie is, I remember from the first one, it's so nice. They're just so nicely supportive of each other, and every time the two of them interact, it feels like a family.
It is, and I mean this 1,000%. It's the only healthy relationship in the film.
Oh yeah.
Not just with Bella, with everybody in this movie, the only healthy relationship is her and Charlie, and it's great. It's great, but everything else is awful, horrible. It's just really bad. Kids should not be watching this movie and learning about love through these movies. This is not okay.
It is so the wrong lens, and it's wonderful for that. It's just terrible.
It's wonderful.
Senior year, she goes there. It's the four kids. There's a Pasty Face. There's other dude and his girlfriend and Anna Kendrick.
Okay, I thought you were calling Anna Pasty Face. You're talking about the kid with the round face that likes her. Okay,
Marshmallow. We call him
Marshmallow. Yeah, that'll work
because we get that line later. Anna Kendrick. Oh man, she's just she's
what
fine.
A treat. Yeah, she's great. Yeah. She's great. Way better than this Case 2 person, huh?
So boom, the Cullens show up, and he gets out of the car. When he gets out of the car and he's just walking over there, you're like, okay, he's hot.
I didn't feel that way, dude. Let me just be honest with you. I didn't feel that way for a second. He got out of the car and he walked in slow motion, and I was like, oh my God, where's Jacob? Where is he? And then he comes immediately, so it was fine. Jacob comes right after.
Oh, no. Well, she does a bit about how he's 109 and it's kind of gross to date an old man. And that was really interesting.
Right.
That was
not
weird,
interesting.
Uncomfortable
it's bad
thing.
Here's the problem, is that they are pointing it out as if it's like a joke. They're like, I guess I shouldn't be dating a 109-year-old. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't be dating someone who's 109.
She kind of goes like, she puts a little mustard on it that you're like, ooh.
Right, to the point where it's like, yeah, girl, get out. You know who's not 109? Well, one, everyone else in the movie. Literally anybody else. She could date any of the fathers of these boys, and they'd still be much better suited for her than a 109-year-old vampire. I need to talk about this for 1 second, Dan. Do you feel like you act the same way now that you did when you were in high school?
Me? Yeah. I'm actually pretty similar.
Me, yeah, I do. Listen. I'm different from when I was in high school. High
Yeah, I
school,
know.
I was more fun. I was a happy kid. That's been stripped away. But that
Yeah.
only to say, why does he act like a child? Why isn't he more mature? Why isn't he smarter? Why doesn't he seem like a 109-year-old man trapped in a 17-year-old body?
Oh,
He seems like a 17-year-old.
because he's written by a 26-year-old woman.
I'm not asking what the real reason. I'm saying in the context of this story, why is nobody weirded out by this guy who is emotionally stunted at 17, not just
See,
physically?
you want to like view this through the lens of reality and what the situation might actually be like, and you got to just always remember, no matter what, this all boils down to the ultimate sort of teenage female fantasy.
That
That's what
can't
it
be
is.
right, though, because
Oh, it's so right. Everything about
listen,
the female is so perfect with this. That's why these movies are glorious and these books
he's
are glorious.
109, Dan. Can we?
Yeah.
We that. It
And
can't be right.
but he looks 17 and she's willing. Oh, well, he looks 23 and
Well,
she's willing to go there. Yeah.
I just can't. I can't agree with the central premise of the film. I just can't do it. Team Jacob, let's continue.
Now, so they make out a little. Jacob shows up. I wrote down in quotes, "Hello, biceps." Is that me talking, or did somebody say that?
Oh boy, I don't know, but I mean, it was probably you.
Yeah,
Let's be honest. You finally noticed that this boy is coming into his own, and he is cut up. God, he looks good, and he wears a lot of tight stuff, so he's really showing it off. Because I mean, I remember in the first one, he's pretty scrawny. Like the glow up between 1 and 2 is insane.
Yeah.
Listen, say whatever you want about Taylor Lautner. He worked his ass off to come to this second movie and blow people away.
Well, he was, all the werewolf boys are all good looking.
They are. Yeah, it's a nice pack, as you would say.
They all walk around just wearing shorts.
Just shorts, showing off 50 abs apiece. Oh my God. I'm gonna bring my laundry over.
And then we have this great scene where Jacob and her rap and Edward's just like over there. He's so pouty. He's like so pouty.
So moody.
And I mean, if you're a teenage girl, this is your dream to have super hot moody boyfriend have to just sit there while you like rap with
and
the super
watch
hot
you
boy.
Flirt with this handsome other boy. Oh, the jealousy. Ugh, women drive me crazy, Tan.
So he gives her a dream catcher. And
listen, Dan, not a great gift. It's not. Listen, that's not the "Hey, I love you. This is gonna win you over" gift. All right, Jacob, you gotta step up your game a little bit.
No, it's a perfect gift because this is a signifier gift. So when he goes to her bedroom later and sees it there on the bed, at the headboard of the bed, he knows.
He knows that she's sending mixed signals from day one. She is messing with his head big time in this movie, and I'm very mad about it.
This movie is probably we're going to title this episode "The Big Tease" because
yeah, yep.
I don't even think he doesn't ever even get to make out with her once, right?
No, they get close multiple times, and every time I'm like on the edge of my seat, nothing, and then nothing.
So
and
really,
this movie's liver lips over here all the time, and it's disgusting.
So the big tease is for you, Tony. That's the greatest thing.
The big tease is against me, not just Taylor over here. I'm feeling it big time.
So they're watching Romeo and Juliet, and then we find out that you can't commit suicide as a vampire for unknowable reasons.
Hold on, you're underplaying what happens here, Dan. Because this is a huge moment for me in the movie, in the zeitgeist of the world. He says, I'm jealous of them because I cannot commit suicide. That's what he says, Stan. He longs to commit suicide. This is not okay. This should not be taught to anyone. Nobody should see this movie. Okay, this movie is bad. This is a bad influence on everybody. You should not want to commit suicide. Let's just say that. Or I was very upset when he said that.
What kids in high school don't like? You invariably have friends that are like, I'm going to kill it is.
But let's
everyone
maybe not
is
glorify that by making the guy who is again 109 wish that he could kill himself. All right, things are supposed to get better, Dan. That's what we tell the kids when they say this. Like, hey, it's gonna get better. You just got to stick with it. Oh, bad lessons all around.
So we learn a little bit about the Voltairi, and then the Voltairi. Then the teacher challenges Edward to recite something. He recites, the teacher's like, oh, I'm going to burn that Cullens. And he does the thing, blah, 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 blah,
yeah,
blah, 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 blah.
But he doesn't really say it in iambic pentameter, which was what the teacher asked. He said, can you, something about saying something in it. I was a little upset. I was like, yeah, you can quote Shakespeare, but you're not giving it the rhythm. You're not performing it, sir.
He could have performed it better. It was not performed.
Yeah, he could have, but Robert Pattinson, terrible actor. So I'm kidding.
So we do a little more about the Voltairi, and we find out that the only real rule is you got to keep the secret, and then if you don't keep the secret, the big guy tears your head off.
Yeah, I guess so. But at that point, isn't it too late? How do they wrap the secret back up? Well, that was just my question, but it doesn't matter.
Probably kill a bunch of people.
They kill everybody? That feels suspicious too. I mean, this is a bad plan.
Then so you got to keep the secret, and then he's like, Bella, the only thing that can hurt me is you.
Wrong. Incorrect. You just explained to me how the Voltairi guys are killing vampires. So that's not the only thing that can hurt you. You just told me a bunch of other things can hurt you, and then you tell me that the only thing that can hurt you is hurt. No, wrong. That's the wrong. You can't say that.
No,
you just told me.
He's not. See, that's the whole romanticism of the thing is, even getting killed or committing suicide is doesn't compare to anything that she can do to him just by a whim.
And that is called an unhealthy relationship, Dan.
Yes.
Yes. You know what
everyone strives for? A real relationship.
No, they do not. Please don't strive for this kind of relationship. What we need, Dan, you and I need to write the antithesis to this movie, which is all about healthy relationships, loving yourself first and not defining yourself by another person. Is that a movie that we could write? I think people really, really find it interesting. No, they wouldn't. They'd hate it. Yeah, it'd be a terrible movie, but it would be a good teaching moment.
So we go, it's the night of, later that night, they go to the Cullens' house. Everyone gives her presents, and then she accidentally cuts herself. And then
badly.
A paper cut that's
it bleeds so much. It's the deepest paper cut I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You got to go to a doctor at that point. That's it's dripping down her whole hand. It's very scary.
Jasper, the weird dude, Alice's boyfriend, freaks out.
I love Jasper. Let me just say that. I think he's my favorite fan at Cullen. I love him.
He jumps at her. So what does Edward do with all of his speed? He throws Bella across the room.
Throws her across the room 15 feet. How is that your first move? It's a terrible move. Not only that, but of course she lands on a bunch of vases and then just basically gets shredded to pieces. She's dead. This woman is dead, okay?
From the arm, all this blood. It's like a hose of blood.
Oh, God, this 109-year-old man is an idiot.
So they have to, Carlisle, the vampire dad, has to take her upstairs because he's a doctor, and he stitches her up. And we find out that she wants to get turned into a vampire. Edward doesn't want to turn into a vampire because he means once you become a vampire, you have no soul. And so they're driving home, and he's being tormented.
And that's how the only thing in this movie that I like. You're just gonna skate over.
Wait, what did
that
you
is
like?
The only thing I like about this movie is the reason he doesn't want to turn her is because it would damn her. I think that that's a wonderful A really lovely moment. And they also, let me just be clear, they also skate over it. They're like, but nobody cares about that. Let's get back to this other stuff. That should be the crux of this movie, is his torment of whether or not he can damn her for eternity. What a beautiful vampire story that would be. Not this one, though. Not this one.
We need the good unhealthy stuff. Let's get back to that.
So dumb.
I don't want to be normal. I want you. As long as I'm human, you want me. Will you still want me when I'm a grandma?
And my answer's, yeah, probably. You know what I mean? I'm okay with it.
Birthday wish, kiss me. I love you. 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 Okay, that's fine. Shh.
It's fine. Okay. Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
She prints out some photos while she's at school. He's in her room, creeping on her. He creeps on her a number of times, which he did in the first movie. It's super weird.
I feel like she was at least there when he did it in the first one. I don't remember for sure.
No, I don't think
he's just in her room in the middle of the day. Get out of there, man. What are you doing? That is so creepy. It's so wrong. You got to get out of the house. Boundaries, Edward, boundaries.
And then she comes home, and he's out there brooding in the backyard. Brood.
Yeah, just standing by a tree or something. Oh, man, this guy's got problems.
So they take a walk in the woods, and he's like, okay, we got to go. And the bullshit reason is because people are noticing that we don't get older, but the real reason is I got to get away from you because... I mean, yes. we all know he's so in love with her, he can't deal with being around her, sort of.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
And again, he doesn't want, she's getting too attached and wants to die, and he's like, we're not good for each other, we gotta separate. They don't do a good job of explaining this in the movie, but
it's really muddy. And this movie is much muddier than the first movie, and I think that the problem probably is they probably stuck a lot more to the book. I'm betting on some of these dialogues, because
it's too bad neither of us have ever read a sentence of those books, or maybe we'd be able to know.
I read the first 2 paragraphs of the first book, so don't.
Just the first, not this one though. So you really dropped the ball.
I don't know anything about this one. So he's like, "Okay, you just got to promise me not to do anything reckless, and this is the last time you will see me. You're not good for me. Please don't go." Then he disappears, and she follows and yells his name, Edward. Then she trips, and then she
tell me what happens next, Sam, because I do not understand it.
She kind of trips, and then she gets sleepy, so she just curls up.
She gets sleepy. Yeah,
and
she
cries
just
herself
falls
to
asleep
in the woods,
laying in the mud in the woods. What is happening, Dan? What is going on? Why is she? She just kind of lays down, just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna sleep here with the snakes.
And then, boom, she gets carried back to...
We cut. It's been hours. They have a search party looking for her, and she's maybe 3 minutes away in the woods. Where did they look?
And Sam's another one of the werewolf boys. He's carrying her.
Hi,
because
Sam.
we thought it was going to be Jacob, but it's Sam. And he's just wearing shorts. Does the sheriff dad know that all these guys are werewolves?
For sure not, because later he's like, well, I guess we got to go hunt some wolves, and then asks the other guy to hunt wolves. So I don't believe so, but it's weird that he didn't question why he's carrying his teenage daughter shirtless. It's weird.
It's very
If I saw that, I'd be like, what the fuck just happened in the woods, guy? You better tell me right now what just happened. But also, she's still asleep. Is she passed out, Dan? Is she unconscious? Because he carried her out of the woods like a child and she never woke up.
Now, there's something that, through this movie, she's super special magic. I'd forgotten this, but like the vampires can't read her. The vampires can't affect her with their spells or whatever magic powers each of them has.
I guess, yeah.
So, and she has like these dreams that are semi-prophetic dreams. So she's in some sort of state. Which, if you're a real filmmaker, you'd maybe define this in some way. But, this time we're just sort of having things happen because we want them to happen.
Maybe you would do that. I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows?
And so, yes, And so she just has like 3 months of sadness. October, November, December, all sadness. She's writing emails to Alice
I
on the
enjoy
computer.
this transition. Did you
Oh,
enjoy
thought it
this
was nice?
transition?
Yeah, it was nice.
The window to show the season and then circle around window to season. I thought that was really cool. And I don't say that a lot about these movies, Stan. I thought that was a really cool moment.
Yeah.
Sorry. Back to these stupid letters. I'm sorry.
As you know, the first movie was directed by what's her name, who's like was it Patty? What's her name? Who did Wonder Woman? Is it her? I think it was her.
Is that Jenkins?
Was it Patty Jenkins? I think Patty Jenkins.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I think so.
I'll look it up. Twilight director. This didn't work. Continue. I'll find it.
Debbie. Whatever. It was a female director, and she did a really great job.
Catherine Hardwicke is her name.
She did a great job. They didn't bring her back on the second one. The guy that did this one has done some decent things. He did Rogue One. But whatever.
Yeah, you got problems with Rogue One, don't you? I have problems with, all the Star Wars movies.
That's because you haven't watched You got to watch Andor. Andor's the only thing you need to
It's
watch.
true. I have not. It was on our list, and it just kind of fell by the wayside.
Andor is the only Star Wars thing I've liked since the very first movie, I think, probably.
Is Ahsoka out yet?
No.
That hasn't come? Okay. All right.
So.
Just curious.
So she's bummed out. She sits at the Cullen table in the cafeteria and cries herself out of existence. She goes home and has these freaky scream dreams, which worries her dad a lot.
Yeah, and we don't know what those dreams are, right? They never tell us?
Mm-mm. And
seems pretty weird.
She's something going on.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like a nightmare. She is screaming her head off in her bed. That I don't understand. It makes very little sense. This is not depression. I've seen depression. That's not what this is.
Yeah, it's something. I think it's something verging on supernatural. That's my opinion.
Okay, I hope we find out in the next 9 hours and 3 movies.
Okay, so the neighbor is getting rid of 2 motorcycles. Dad's like, I'm going to ship you back to your mom. And she's like, no. Let's see. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to go shopping with Jessica. Oh, you have to love this part. This part's great. She's like, I'm going to go shopping with Jessica. Instead, her and Jessica go to the movies. And then Esther, we do some leprosy jokes.
Which was weird. But okay.
And then she's like walking out. And then she sees these guys down there. And then she has a flashback from the first movie, these guys that harassed her. And then she's like, I've become evil adrenaline junkie. And she goes down there and gets on the one guy's motorcycle. And talk about the motorcycle ride, Tony.
I want to talk about just in general. What a terrible message this is sending. Listen, kids out there, do not, A, go to a dark alley filled with dangerous men. B, get on one of their motorcycles as he's clearly harassing you sexually. And then C, I'm confused on the motorcycle ride in general because they seem to go for a ride. And then she is like, no, stop. He screeches to a halt. First of all, he screeches to a halt with a passenger on the back. That is some incredible riding. That's very difficult to do and maintain balance. But then it seems like they're immediately back at the place they started because Anna Kendrick is still there.
Anna Kendrick's still there. She has teleported back.
She is. All right, is there evidence of the teleportation, Dan? Because here's my problem. What did Anna Kendrick do while she was gone on the motorcycle?
Vape.
Just leaned against the curb and smoking a cigarette. Because she's just sitting. This doesn't make any sense, Dan.
Let's talk about what was really happening, which is spooky Edward Ghost is there trying to stop her from doing things.
I'm pretending that never happened. As far as I'm concerned, Ghost Edward does not exist. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, Dan. It's horrible storytelling.
It's so good.
No,
This
Dan,
like
no.
this
No.
ethereal Edward appears and he's like, "Don't be reckless. Don't get on the
But
motorcycle."
he
And
doesn't
then
even have emotions. Why isn't Pattinson at least acting at this moment? I don't understand. Don't do it, Bella. Stop.
it's so good.
Stop. It's so weird.
Oh, it's so good.
No, Dan, you're fired. You're fired.
Oh my god. So now she's starting to become an adrenaline junkie, which is great because
Is
we're all
that
like,
great?
of course, because it's you got to have something happen for her to motivate the plot forward, and that is just the weirdest choice you can make.
Also, calling it a plot, little thin, Dan.
So she has got the motorcycles. She puts them in the truck, goes to Jacob's.
No, don't skip over that. How does she put them in the truck, Dan? She's an 80-pound woman. How does she get these motorcycles that don't run into a truck?
You put a piece of wood and then you roll them up the wood?
No, there's not a chance. I don't even think she could do that. I don't believe it.
So he like picks them out of the thing with like one finger. He's like,
I mean, this guy rips. I love it. She's like, oh, be careful. They're heavy. And he's like, what, these motorcycles? Over his head. Oh, boy, it's very sexy.
And then they start working on the cycles. And he begins to fill the hole in her heart that Edward made with his casual friendship and motorcycle repair stuff.
And motorcycle repair stuff. The two things every woman needs: friendship and motorcycle repair stuff.
So her and Jacob out driving. They see like these kids on the cliff, and then they see the one kid throw the other kid off, and she's like, I gotta stop them. And so like they stop like a mile away and get out, and then he's all like, that's Sam.
Don't worry about it.
That's Sam and Embry, and they have a cult. And he kind of sets it up that this is going to be like the central conflict of the movie, which it isn't at all.
What? Not even a little bit. No. Mainly because there is no central conflict of the movie, Dan.
No,
the conflict is the whole conflict is basically I want to be a vampire and you don't want me to be a vampire. But then we only touch on that every 40 minutes or so.
And we throw in these other things that you're like, oh, this is what's going to happen at the end. Nope, this is nothing that's what's going to happen at the end. Nope, not at all. So they get them all set up. Oh, they get the motorcycles fixed, and then we have this nice sexual scene where she's got her hands on the motorcycle controls, and then he's like doing the thing. I was like, okay, that's pretty sexy.
Yeah, everything he does is sexy, Dan. When are you going to get that through your thick skull? Taylor Lautner, sex appeal.
So then
but here's go. This is exactly what I want to talk about.
She takes off on the motorcycle, and then she has to swerve to miss all these ghost Edwards. Stop, Bella! Stop, Bella! Stop, Bella! This was one of the greatest scenes in the movie. It was so hilarious.
Worst scene I've ever seen in my entire life. First of all, Dan, when she's driving, she's doing this. It's so clearly green screen. Like, she's not driving anything whatsoever. And B, I don't think she's ever ridden a motorcycle in her entire life because if you look at it, she's moving the handlebars too much. If you move the handlebars when you're going straight, it's a lean. When you're going straight, you're going to want to lean because if you turn your handlebars, you're going to flip too much. But she's like doing this stuff. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And yeah, just a bunch of heads, just a bunch of Edward ghost heads popping up everywhere. Oh, God. This is so dumb.
So she, of course, crashes, gets a big bloody head wound, which is never evidenced again in the entire movie.
Not only that, but it's bleeding. She needs to go to hospital. She's concussed, at least. It's at least a mild concussion. And they're just kind of laugh it off.
Well, she has the great line, I'm sorry for bleeding. And it's such a great callback to the other scene where she had to basically apologize because you can't bleed in front of vampires, and he's all like,
"Yeah,
I'm normal.
Why are you doing apologizing for bleeding?" But also, just for all of you people that are my age and like pop punk or emo music, "Taking Back Sunday" has the lyric as I apologize for bleeding on your shirt. So I'm pretty sure she stole that from them. But it's cool, man. It's cool.
She calls him beautiful, and you're like, okay.
Which,
okay.
took her long enough to realize that. I knew it the second I saw him.
So she goes back to school. Marshmallow Dude asks her out on a date. He wants to go to a mushy movie called Love Spelled Backwards is Love, but she's like, no.
Are you telling me that's the title of the movie? That whole thing, Love Spelled Backwards is Love, is the title? Oh God, the two titles that these people came up with are the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. What's the other one?
Face Punch.
Face Punch. What kind of a movie is Face Punch, Dan?
They had a cool movie poster when they go to the movie theater.
They had a movie poster, sure. And then in the movie, oh, sorry, should I wait? I'll jump in ahead.
So Marshmallow Boy, he's all like, boy. This is my big shot with hot baby, hot lady. And then she goes and invites the rest of the gang. And he's all like,
and not only the rest of the gang, but also Jacob. She invites people that they don't even hang out with. Very rude.
We cut to movie night. There's Jacob and Marshmallow Boy, and you're just like, wait.
And everyone else is bailed.
And she's all like,
why is he here? They're not even friends.
Just three of us. Just us three. So they get in there, the movie's going, and they've got this nice tense shot where you're like, oh, who's going to make the move on her hand? Well, we don't have time for that because Marshmallow Boy can't take it.
Hold on. Instead of either one of them making a move, they're both sitting with their hands open and waiting for her to make a decision. They're both doing it on either side. Their hands are open and uncomfortably twisted so that it looks like, hey, hold my hand. Hold my hand. And she doesn't. Spoiler alert. She doesn't hold anybody's hand. She doesn't give a shit.
And Taylor's got his great movie face, which is like this.
I know.
I love his face. It's like so funny.
Well, to be fair, are you listening to what's happening in this movie? All it is women screaming and then gunshots. What is this movie about, Dan? It's there's no way that this is a good movie. It seems like a movie where there's just a guy walking around shooting women in the head.
No, punching them in the face.
I mean, but it was gunshots, Dan. What am I supposed to do with that? Why are there gunshots in a movie called Face Punch?
So, lame guy bails. They go out to the lobby, and he says the classic line, "What a marshmallow!" Then he tries to hold her hand, and then she's like, "Oh."
And then she tells him. He's like, oh, is it not okay if I hold your hand? And what does she say to that, Dan? Do you remember?
She says, Jacob, don't. But then she's like,
no, what she says is, it's okay for you to hold my hand, but I think it means something different for you. Excuse me, bitch? Are you kidding me right
Tony.
now? You know exactly what it means to both of you, and you are just playing with this poor kid's heart. I don't like her at all in this movie, man. She's bad.
She's bad. She's super using him to sort of...
She is manipulating the shit out of him. Unbelievable.
She's using his attention to make her feel less bad about losing her boyfriend.
Correct. And that is not okay. But this movie's making it seem like it's okay. And here's my thing. He's perfect in every way. So she's an idiot. I hate her.
So what? Marshmallow Boy comes out, and Jacob is ready to kill him, and you're just like, "Wait, what's happening?"
Yeah, he goes 0 to 80 so fast. He's what even? Do you remember what sets him off?
Nothing sets him off.
The guy says something and he snaps back, which is an inappropriate response to whatever it was. But he was like, "Oh, do you want me to make you or something?" I don't know what he got upset about, but
he goes hard for no reason.
It was really funny.
So he bails, the dude bails, and then she's like, of course, trying to call him. "Oh, where are you?" And then call me, and then Dad goes fishing, and so then she's like, "Okay, I'm just going to go to his house." And boom, there he is, haircut, big tattoo, walking in the rain.
And at this moment, This is the moment that I
Tony
think,
fell in love. He's
I
like,
don't.
walked
It's
it.
not just me, Dan. This is the moment America was like, "Oh shit! Look at this guy." I mean, the rain coming down. His wig is finally off because that wig does not look good. Can we just be clear about that? That was a terrible. The costume department needs some work because that wig looked really bad. But he's just chiseled AF, and he's just walking like he knows what he's doing. It's a great scene, very sexy.
I think we just sort of dance around. I had forgot. I assumed she knew they were werewolves, but I guess not.
No, nobody knows, Dan. Stop thinking people know.
So then he does the whole thing is we can't be friends anymore. It's not you, it's me. I'm not good. I'm going to kill you, blah, 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 blah.
Hold on, Dan. I found it in my notes.
Okay.
We got to go back to the movie theater real quick.
Okay.
Marshmallow comes out of the bathroom and he's like, "What? I was feeling sick before we came." And Jacob gets real mad and he goes, "Well, if you're sick, maybe you should go to the hospital. Want me to put you there?" And he like comes at him. It's amazing. It's a wonderful moment that makes zero sense.
I mean, it makes sense in the movie, because of what he's going through.
Does it, Dan? Because we don't even know what he's going through.
So, boop, boop, boop.
That's good.
She goes home. Dad's like, "I just heard from Jacob's dad that you kids had a fight." I'm like, wow, that is small town stuff.
Not only is that small town stuff, but like Jacob is really honest with his dad. I mean, I think that's cool. Not everybody has that relationship,
People have very good familial. Actually, everybody has really good familial relationships.
It is with their dad, especially. I feel like for whatever reason, I think who wrote this? Stephanie Meyer, is that her name?
Yeah.
She must have had a really bad dad, and so she's trying to make up for it by making all her dads really good.
Or she had a great dad, and she wants to celebrate that.
No, that one doesn't sound right to me, Dan. She had a terrible dad.
Okay, so let's see. Boop, 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 boop. Still writing Alice, but Edward Ghost is not bugging her anymore, and so she goes to like the special field where she and Edward laid in the first movie, and then boom, Lauren is there, the guy with the dreadlocks, and like showing his pecs, and then he's all like, "Okay, here's the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie is we're gonna kill you." Because the redheaded girl wants you dead. And I'm like, okay, here's the plot of the movie.
Nope.
They're going to try and kill her because the redheaded girl, and like, boom, here come the werewolves. They chase the vampire away.
Well, I just got to say, this scene is pretty tense. For as ridiculous and cheesy as this movie is, this Laurent guy I think he's pretty good. And he brings this level of menace that you don't see anywhere else in this movie, I feel like. And I really enjoyed it. At one point, he like calls her mouth-watering, but in the creepiest way I've ever... I don't know. He was good. I thought he was really good.
He was in the first movie, I'm pretty sure.
He was, yeah. Him and Cam Gigandet and then the redhead were all like the bad people.
And they must have killed Cam Gigandet, whatever that means.
That's the big fight at the
those
end.
Those are words.
It's Cam. Those are, you don't know Cam. Cam is another beautiful specimen, and Edward killed him like a jerk. You know what? Edward's problem is he's just killing people that are more prettier than he is. That's what this movie's about.
You gotta do that sometimes. So there's a little bit of a fight, but it's very short, and I was like, that was too short. So
yes,
she goes home.
They don't have enough money to do like full werewolf fights.
But it happens later. She goes home, tells Dad there's werewolves, and he's like, "Okay, we'll go hunt them." And then,
that is what happens.
You want to talk about Jacob parkouring up to her window?
Yeah. Do you think he really did that? It's so smooth, though, Dan. Like, this guy is. Woo! I don't know, Dan, because he does parkour in that abduction movie as well. I think he's very parkour hardcore. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful, though. Like, he does this, jumps to the tree, jumps to the house, swings in. I don't know. It's pretty cool.
So he's like, let's just, you and me leave. And then goes to Jacob. Oh, yeah. So he wants them to leave, and she's like, can't do it. So then he just jumps out the window and leaves. And then she goes to find him again. I don't know why she goes to find him again. And
I don't know.
he's there with Sam and his boys.
She said, "I'm sorry for what I said." So this must have been the part where she's like, "Yeah, I don't like you. You know, like we can't be together or some shit."
So she goes there, and then she slaps one of Sam's bros, and then he turns into a wolf, and then Jacobs turns into a wolf, and like they break a boat, and the wolf's out of the bag.
Yeah, I didn't like that line, Dan. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
And then she has like this whole, she writes another email to Alice. She's always writing these emails to Alice, even though she doesn't have Alice's email address. I'm wondering if somebody got one of those emails, what they would think.
If they would think, this lady's crazy. Someone needs to get her some help. I didn't like it as a narrative choice. It's too much. There's too many letters. But I suppose like that's how you have to get the book thoughts forward, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because books have a lot of inner monologue. You got to get that stuff out. But let me just talk about real quickly when K-Stu is talking to the werewolves, and she's like, "I'm not scared of you guys. You're not the first monsters I've met."
Oh.
We need to talk about this term monster that she just throws out willy-nilly at people. That's a very hurtful term. She can't, if I was a werewolf and I'm a good werewolf.
Frankenstein gonna cry because they called him a monster.
Yeah, Frankenstein would cry because he's not a monster. He's a sweet, gentle giant. It's not his fault how he was made. Okay, so let's be careful with the term monster. Monsters is a term for evil things that do evil things, okay? Gosh, she's the worst. She's the bigot. That's what she is.
Tony, do you want to talk about how Herman Munster was your TV dad?
You don't like Herman Munster? Herman Munster was the best, man.
Don't you remember when we did the Munster show and you talked about how you watched the Munsters and Herman was like, you like always felt he was
because
like
that's what you want in a father. You want somebody who is like empathetic and listens and tries to do the right thing. I mean, that's great. It's not just me, Dan. Here's an entire generation of people's dads. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. Him. Let's see. Who's some good dads in history, right? Well, no, Dawson's dad was not great, cheating on his mom, but he was a pretty sweet guy in general. Sandy Cohen from the OC, that's another one. That was a good father figure in my life. Jonathan Kent from Smallville. That's like the number one dad of all time. Anyhow, what are we talking about?
So she goes to the place where the werewolves hang out, goes to this cabin, and he meets Sam's fiance, who has like this big scar on her face, still very hot.
And we have to talk about this, Dan. Don't scare it over it, but continue. I'll just come back if I need to.
The muffins? You want to talk about the muffins?
No, I want to talk about this woman whose face is scarred and the boys.
Hold on.
Okay.
Don't you want to talk about those muffins? Did you see those muffins?
Because they're so big? Because they're giant muffins.
The muffins are like this big. No one has made muffins that big.
It's the size of your head. Well, they're wolf muffins. You know what I mean? These wolves have to eat.
Was like, she made them.
It's made in like a cake pan. Each muffin is a cake pan on its own.
Okay, what do you want to say about her hot scars?
So, I mean, I don't disagree with that. Here's the problem, Dan. The boys, I can't remember their names, Eugene and I don't know. They talked to Bella and they're like, "Hey, Bella, don't stare at her face. It upsets Sam."
Yeah.
Not that it upsets her. It upsets the man who abused her.
He didn't do that.
This is not okay. This is not okay.
They didn't say he did it.
Yes, he did. Yeah. He got mad one time. This was the story. Sam got mad one time and lost it and regrets it. It's like, okay, great. So he abused his wife and now he gets mad at anyone who points it out? Not okay. Not okay. This movie's full of bad lessons for people. All right.
So Jacob and the other wolf come back and they're just like palling around. They're like, this is just good fun.
Yeah, boys will be boys, messing around and killing each other.
And then she's like, you got to stop being this way. And he's all like, I was born this way. And then
Also, it just started. So to her to be like, you have to stop doing, like, he's just starting this journey.
it was
Whatever.
weird. So
She sucks.
she defends the vampires, and then he's like, "We killed the vampires," and then he's like, "We killed that dude." She's all like, "You kill vampires?" And they're like, "Yeah, we killed that dude that was harassing
Yeah,
you."
we
have a nice scene of him being destroyed by the wolves. It was great.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but yeah, great.
Okay, let's see. What? Oh, so boom, we're out there. The redheaded vampire screwing around, and the sheriff's buddy gets hurt.
Screwing around. Well, he dies.
And then well, we didn't know that. We assumed he died, but we didn't know.
But it's so weird because she jumps down and like grabs him, right? And he's like, oh, but still alive. And then a werewolf comes and tackles her, and then he falls to the ground, and then he dies.
Well, he had a heart attack.
I know, but like, how pathetic is that? I thought it was a pretty anticlimactic death to me. I wish that he would have gotten a real death.
So the redheaded vampire runs away from the wolves, and then she dives into the ocean, which you're like, that's different. And so then Bella's Bella's not doing well, so she has to go find adrenaline, and she sees the cliff, and so she jumps off the cliff, and is like, I feel alive now. And then is that when she sees? No. She sees his unconscious body underwater later, right? Is that
late after. So what happens? She jumps in the water, and she's like, yay, I had fun. And then she sees the redhead swimming at her like a mermaid. And then Bella freaks out, swims backwards as fast as she can, knocks herself out on a rock. I mean, that's 3 concussions in one movie. She's not doing okay. She's going to have some brain damage, Dan.
And when she wakes up, but while she's like unconscious, she's like floating with.
She's like floating next to a ghost Edward. Oh, God, it's dumb. It's so dumb, Dan.
Jacob saves her and gives her mouth to mouth.
Yeah, he does. Most action this poor guy gets the whole movie.
And then as they drive home...
Terrible at CPR, by the way. Horrible CPR acting. I pay attention to these things because Jack from Lost is the best fake CPR I've ever seen in my life. That guy must have done classes on classes on how to do CPR. Jacob just puts his hand on the breastbone and then massages it, moves it up and down. It's not even like a compression thing. He's like doing this. I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know why you'd even show it in the movie.
So they drive home in the truck, and then boom, they get home, and she freaks out because there's Carlisle's car, and so she runs inside, and boom, there's Alice inside. Alice had a vision of her jumping into the water, and Alice thought she was dead. Not quite sure how she has a vision of her jumping in the water if she can't see her.
Thank you. Very confusing, Dan, because they make a point of saying the vampire powers don't work with Bella. So what's happening? Tell me. This is your movie. Tell me what's going on, Dan. You son of a bitch.
Well, she can read the water around her and see a Bella-shaped hole.
She's reading water now? Silly stuff.
And so then Jacob comes back inside and he's like, I don't care about the rules. I'm going to protect you no matter what. And then Alice is like, can't you put that dog out because it's a dog? And then the phone rings and then Jacob picks it up and he's all like, Bella Thorne residence. He's all like, blah, 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 blah. And then he hangs it up. Who's Bella Thorne?
That's a real person. That's a real actress. Somebody. Bella Thorne was in The Babysitter.
Oh, yeah, Bella Thorne. Bella Swan, whatever. And then he hangs up and she's all like, who was that? And it was like, that was Edward.
And she goes, why didn't you let me talk to him? First of all, you didn't ask. And second of all, he asked for Charlie. So you know what? He didn't do anything wrong. Other than making him think that she was dead. Other than that, Jacob didn't do anything wrong.
So based on like that call to Jacob, now Edward has decided he's going to go give himself over to the Voltairi and commit suicide.
And let me just tell you, the amount of time it took you to explain that, he had already made that decision. his sister already knew about it and came in to tell Bella, all within the same time frame of you just thinking about it. Doesn't make any sense.
What would you do in this situation, Tony?
Well, I would let him do it.
You would star 69, goddammit. Star
69. Is that a thing? What time is this? Is this still a thing? I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough call, Dan. Oh, star 69. You remember that shit? That was great.
Back. Call him back.
Call him back. Call other people that you might know to call him. I don't understand. Where is he?
Call the well, you could certainly call the operator and say, operator, I got disconnected.
Operator. So, real serious question. Because Alice is like, hey, he needed some time on his own. So he's separate from the family. Is he already in Italy?
I think he's like in Turkey.
What? First, okay. Where did you get Turkey from, Dan? I need to know. I think he's in Turkey. I don't know where that's coming from, but I get a feeling if I was Edward, I'd be in Turkey doing some turkey things. Oh my God.
I don't know.
Because I'm curious because they get on a plane and somehow beat him walking down the street to them. I'm very confused by the timing of this all.
So she's all like, okay, I'm going. I'm leaving my dad a note. Gotta go. So we cut to the throne room. Got the three big Voltairi. And Edward comes in.
Where does she get the money for the plane ticket, Dan?
Oh,
she doesn't have a job.
Alice has money.
Okay, you think that Alice bought it. Okay.
Those
good old Carlyles just throwing away money. That's not how you amass wealth, Dan.
They're Cullens. Carlyle's the
What did I say?
Name. You said
damn it.
Those Carlyles. They're Cullens.
Yeah. They're the same.
So he's in front of the three big Voltairi, and he's all like, please kill me, I want to die. And they're all like, nope, you're useful.
Now, this might be because I don't remember the first one. Full disclosure, I remember some of it, but not all of it. They're like, they say your skills are too useful to kill you.
Yeah, because he's like,
skills?
I think, the most dangerous vampire alive. I think he might be the fastest vampire or something.
But he loses every fight he's ever in. I don't understand. He gets the shit kicked out of him in 3 minutes.
He's really good at something.
3 minutes time, he gets just knocked out by that other dude. He's thrown around the room, slammed to the ground. He gets destroyed. I honestly don't remember what it was, but they're like, oh, you're too special to kill, but no one will tell me why. It's fine.
So boom, here we got Alice and Bella in the yellow Porsche. Alice looking very stylish. She somehow had time to get really stylish clothes.
Dan, what side of the road do they drive on there? Are we? I think they might be on the wrong side.
No, they're normal. It's England.
Oh, Italy's normal?
Yeah, Italy's normal. England's the only messed up one.
I suppose we shouldn't say normal, by the way. It's just,
I think it's just the British.
American.
Just the British who do it wrong.
I trust
So what's going to happen is he's going to be at the clock tower, and then he's going to show himself to all the people in red who supposedly got rid of the vampires, and then when they see he sparkles, then they're going to be very angry at him, and they're going to kill him. Or they're going to know that a vampire is still alive, and so then they're going to have to kill him.
I guess so.
So she gets there.
This is my favorite part of the movie with his weird nipples.
She gets there. He's walking out. He takes off his shirt. She runs through a fountain, and then she jumps into his arms, and then it takes him a few minutes to figure out that she's real.
It does. It takes him a few beats to understand what's happening. He at the first moment he goes, heaven, as if he already died. But that's not what kills him, Dan. His plan is to go out there, be naked, show everyone, then go back into a room and get murdered. Why would he think he's already dead?
I don't know.
Yeah, because he's an idiot. All right, because this movie's written by idiots and the characters are idiots.
Well,
heaven. Oh, God. Slap him in his weird nipples. You notice that too, though, right? It's not just me. I mean, like one was like due north and one was like southeast. Yeah,
I'm usually writing, so I don't really
You're not
pay attention to a lot of
usually right. I'm usually staring at man's bodies. So there's that.
So, boom, she gets him out of the sunlight, even though one girl saw, so it means they still can kill him.
A little girl saw it and was like trying to tug on her mom, and be like, look at the vampire, mommy.
So they drag him back there to the bosses, and then the bosses are all like, "You are interesting to us. Let's see if you're immune to everything." Then we have Pain Jane makes Edward feel pain, and then tries to make her feel pain and can't do it. And then they have a fight, and Edward loses, and then Bella's like, "Kill me, not him."
Now, I'm very confused by this whole thing, Tan.
Yeah.
So, all right. She offers herself up in his stead, right?
Yeah.
But they don't want to kill her, right?
Well,
don't they? She's magical. They want
They
her.
They think, what if we turn this magical girl into a vampire?
Right. So why would they stop when she's like, "Oh, kill me instead," and then he's like, true love. How interesting. Right? I don't understand this whole scene.
Well, I think he's sort of saying like,
well,
you're giving yourself over, right? She's like, "Kill me," and that means they're going to turn her into a vampire.
What he says is like, "Oh, you would sacrifice yourself for one of us monsters," is basically what he says.
Yeah.
But they believe they're better than humans.
Yeah.
So wouldn't, because they have humans as pets. So of course the pet would sacrifice themselves for the master, right? The dichotomy doesn't make any sense, Dan.
No, the pet eats you when you're dead.
That's what cats do. That's true. And I good for them. If I ever die and my cat needs to feed on me to survive, good for him. I give him my Tom, you have my blessing. He's not here. He doesn't care.
So Alice is like, "Okay, I'll change you." And then they read out. Oh, Alice says she's gonna be a vampire, and then the dude like touches her because he can read all their existences, and we see Bella running through the forest shining, so we know Bella's gonna wear a white dress and be a vampire.
And that has to be true, right? We haven't seen a moment where Alice can fake those future thoughts, right?
Well, it doesn't make any sense because she can't see Bella.
Oh God, you're right. This movie. I didn't even think about that at this moment. Oh my gosh, Dan.
It's a rules promises, rules broken.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And so they're like, "Oh, okay, just go and be a vampire and everything's going to be cool."
Now, Dan, let's be real for 1 second. They're about to kill her. And Alice is like, "Wait, no, don't kill her. I'm going to turn her into a vampire."
I don't know that we were going to kill her necessarily.
Or they were going to turn her, right. And Alice is like, no, don't worry, I'll do it. Are you telling me there's really a world where they don't just go, "Okay, do it. Do it right now so we know that it happens because we're going to do it right now." They're just like, "Hey, go do it and please do it soon. Just be good, be kind, do what you said." No.
After graduation.
No. Wouldn't happen. They'd be like, "Okay, bite her right now." And then guess what? You have tension. You have a scene with tension again because now they have to do it right now, as opposed to just be like, "Oh, okay, you're right. You know what? Just take your time. Do whatever you want. We got 3 more movies to go. You can do it in 10 years. So dumb.
That's what happens in this movie. So, boom, we immediately cut from that to her in bed at home. And then Edward's like talking to her.
Again. Yay.
And then Dad comes in, and Edward hides, and then he grounds her, and then Edward reappears again, and it's like, I creep as much as I want.
And I'm not technically breaking his rules because he said he can't go through the door, but I went through the window. I hate this movie.
So then she goes.
Let's just talk about Charlie really quickly. The dad is like mad. He's like, "Hey, don't you disappear for 3 days on me again. That's it. That's all that's going to happen." This girl went globetrotting for 3 days without asking for... Oh, boy.
So that next night, she somehow can, even though she's grounded, she's at the Cullens' house. That's how that works.
Hanging out. Doesn't make any sense.
And we do the big vote, about whether or not she gets to be a vampire, and they all vote yes, except the one blonde girl. She says no.
Now, who is she to invoke a vote in someone else's family? That's not how that should work. She can't go to them and be like, hey, guys, I need you to vote on whether you're going to make me a vampire or not. They would have to initiate this sort of thing. This is bonkers. This doesn't make any sense.
So that's going to happen. And then we got the big last scene, which is Jacob and Edward are going to talk. They meet out in the forest, and Edward's like, thank you for keeping her alive, but I'm here now, so blow off.
So you can go hang out with your wolf brothers.
And then Jacob's like, well, we'll see. And then Jacob's like, well, don't forget about the treaty. And basically the treaty is that if they ever feast on human beings, then they're free game for the werewolves to just kill.
Yeah.
So if they turn
which actually makes sense. The second thing in this movie that makes sense to me is the treaty is we won't attack you unless you attack innocent humans, and then you're dead. That makes sense.
It doesn't just make sense. It's a great plot point. It's actually a brilliant plot point.
And yet, here we are at 2 hours and 4 minutes, and we finally get to one interesting plot point.
And they haven't used it for any dramatic tension. It's just sort of a throwaway right at the end, so that we can.
Yeah, great stuff, Dan. This is top tier.
And then we have the great thing. She's like, I love you, Jake. Don't make me choose. And then she says, it's always been him.
She says, don't make me choose because it'll be him. But what is the other option here? No.
She says, it's always been him.
Right. Which is so harsh because I spent the whole movie teasing you and telling you how much I love you. Here's my question. What is the other option that she's asking for? She's like, don't make me choose. You have to choose, lady.
Well,
They're both in love with you.
She's already chosen. She's always chosen.
That's what I'm saying. But she's telling him, don't make me choose. What is the other option? What in her head, does he just be like, oh, no, it's okay. I'll love you and just you be with him, but then I'm here whenever you need me? No. Sorry, lady. It's not the way it works.
No. So we think they're going to fight, and then she gets in the middle. You can't hurt each other without hurting me. And Jake's just like, okay, peace out.
Right? Like, this is too much drama. I'm a beautiful man. I can get any woman I want to, unlike that creepy guy over there, because he's ugly. I can't wait, Dan, for Jacob to get a girlfriend and a baby. I can't wait.
So, boom and boom. So he's all like, okay, so you're going to be a vampire, but how about we wait 5 years? And then she's like, that's too long. He's like, 3 years.
Interesting negotiation scene. Yep.
Yeah, wonderful. How do you finish your movie with a negotiation scene? And he's like, 3 years. She's like, 3 years. And then I put parentheses, 2 sequels. And then he's like, there's just one condition. And she's like, what's that condition? Marry me. And then she's all like, "Bull?"
Which is weird because, you guys are talking about being together for eternity, not a lifetime, eternity. Thousands of years. If you're not married, that's pretty weird.
But it's just the greatest thing. It's like, well, how do you up eternal love with a vampire? Wedding!
Marry me. Oh, boy. This movie is something else. Here's what I will say. What you said at the beginning is absolutely right. This feels like fan fiction of the first movie, which is ironic because 50 Shades of Grey is fan fiction of the first movie, and they're about equally bad, it turns out. So, oops.
Yeah, but this one, the acting's better. It looks better.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, 1,000%. Yeah. No, 50 Shades is pretty. God, we should do those sequels too. I know I watched them, but they're pretty fun, Dan. They are pretty fun.
Yeah. So this
great
one
stuff.
Just packs all this punch. Like these two boys basically fighting over her.
Packs a punch.
Just
punch.
It just really delivers on what you want as a teen girl to have like these hot guys promising your eternity, and you're just like, but he's the one that I truly love. I can't love you, even though you're super hot. I'd like to,
even though you're way better in every way. I can't be with you. Yep. So weird.
I can't wait to see what happens in the next one. I just wonder when we're actually going to get to the wedding.
I I just can't wait for the wedding. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what any of these are about, but if there's anything like this, they're not about anything. So it's going to be fine.
I think all these just random things, it's like in the middle of this next one, we're going to have to go see the Voltairi for some reason. Pain Jane's going to show up.
Of course.
Well,
you don't hire Dakota Fanning if you're not going to use her for more than 3 minutes.
Was that Dakota Fanning?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that group, what's their name? I'm sorry.
The Voltairi.
The Voltairi. They're a collection of pretty solid actors. Like, it's pretty good.
That Michael Sheen role, the main guy, most movies would have that character in there, and you would just be like, "Oh, please let these scenes." He carries those scenes. It's just like, I'm going to make these absurd scenes that are about. And actually, we didn't even talk about the fight between Edward and the two vampires. It was a fucking great fight.
Yeah, if more things like that happened as opposed to all the bullshit in this movie, they'd be pretty good movies. And you're right. No, you're absolutely right. He's really good. It's weird because again, the main trio, not bad. All of my complaints are based on the writing. Like it's not. They're all pretty good.
And what the movies mean, what the movies are, the message of the movies.
Exactly. But they hired a lot of really talented people.
Yeah.
And with a better script and story, I would really enjoy these movies. I really would.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
But I'm still so funny. I had a great time.
You take Aquaman on one hand and you take this movie on the other hand. It's like a hawk.
I would watch these anytime. Yeah, 100%. A million times over before watching Aquaman again, even though you made me watch it a second time, Dan. Unbelievable. But I'll tell you what, this doesn't count for what I watched this week. We rewatched Zack Snyder's Justice League 4 hours.
Yeah.
God, it's good. It's so good. I love it so much. It's beautiful.
Well, good. I'm glad, it's like, I don't fault people. It's like the Flash movie's getting crucified and everyone's like, Oh,
we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes.
And my feeling is, these kind of movies, there's some that are made for everybody, and there's some that are just made for the select few. Zack Snyder's Justice League, not made for everybody. Wasn't, I watched the beginning.
100%. Definitely not.
Didn't do anything for me. And I was like, I'm not doing 4 hours of this. I don't need to do that.
Listen, if people don't want to sit through it, obviously I get that 100%. And if you don't like it, I get it too. But it's very stylized. It's very Zack Snyder, but it's also super DC. The difference between what Zack Snyder's doing and what Marvel's was doing is like Marvel is kind of for everybody. They're like, we're taking these niche characters and we're like, we're going to make them so relatable that you love them even though you have no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm.
DC kind of goes the other way. It's like you already have to love and know these guys. Otherwise you're not going to care much. So, you win some, you lose some.
So I get the first one we like this week. Silo on Apple TV.
Is it good?
I had watched the first episode and I was like, this is not good. Because I knew the basic story and I was like, Rashida Jones was in there and I was like, and then I was like, okay, this will be my pet science fiction project where I'll watch the whole thing and it'll be painful, but I have to see. Because I watched like the whole first season of Westworld and got to the end and I said, I will never watch another minute of this. This is so terrible. But I was like, I'm going to give them, you got the 10 episodes. I'm going to give you your 10 episodes. If you can convince me, I'll say, Silo, you do one. I watched 2 and I was like, okay, next 2 days I watched the entire, not the whole thing because it's not all out yet.
Sure.
I think it's Rebecca Ferguson. Is that her name? She played the wife in the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies.
Oh, yeah, I know her. Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, she's
really
good. Oh, I love her so much.
Awesome. Yeah, that is her name, by the way. You did it.
You're like, oh, here's a star. She was
great in Mission Impossible. So
yeah. So Tony, tell us about The Flash.
Okay. Well, so this is actually a semi-update and apology, and I was wrong about almost everything. during our Summer Madness
surprise.
collection. I saw 3 movies this week, Dan.
Oh, wow.
All right. So the first movie we watched last Saturday night was Hypnotic with Ben Affleck. It's awful.
Of course it's awful. I was going to be stunned if you were like, this movie is incredible. I'm like, wait, what?
Dan,
that
horrible.
Was so
bad. And I'm so sad about it. Again, he's great. He looks great. Not a lot to do. The movie sucks.
Wow. Surprise.
We should have just done it for this podcast. It's that bad to me. It was horrible. It was laughable. So I got that one way wrong.
See,
I thought I was going to like it.
Of all the movies on Summer Hate Watching, that would be the one that I would have said absolutely we should absolutely have to do.
We should. Maybe we still can, because you should probably see it at some point.
We'll give you 6 months to forget about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we get some time as we do Twilights. So saw that, horrible, and I was way off. We saw Flash then on Sunday afternoon. We went to one of those theaters with the lunch. Great stuff. It's fine.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine. I was really disappointed. I was disappointed, even though I thought it's a fine movie. They were touting this as the best superhero movie. It's not. It's just kind of fine. It's okay. There's some fun stuff. The graphics are terrible. CGI looks horrible. I don't know what's going on with that. Keaton's really fun, as you would expect. Supergirl is awesome.
She's awesome. She looks
super underused, and they better bring her back and give her more work.
Bummer.
But she was awesome. She's my favorite part of the movie. Ben Affleck is only in the movie in the beginning for a few minutes and just fucking crushes it. And it makes me so sad. He delivers one of my favorite lines in DC. It's incredible. But the movie, meh, it's fine. It's fun.
I'm going to go watch The Accountant again. I got Anna Kendrick. Let's go watch the movie where those two get to shine.
Yeah, that movie's so good. And then the third, I'm sorry, I'm taking over. This taking so long. And then the third one I saw that I was wrong about My Father. It's a delightful movie.
It's
the Sebastian, which I am saying his last name wrong. Sebastian Maniscalco. I think I'm flipping Maniscalco. I think I'm doing that wrong. Anyhow, it's very funny. It's mostly just him doing bits the whole time, just commenting on his life. It's very funny. De Niro is a treat as his super Italian father. Just a delight. We really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. So that's the movie that I saw that I liked this week. The other two were things I was going to like.
Let me guess, it made about $7 million.
I bet it didn't do good at all. I will tell you that The Machine is already out on VOD. I don't know if you saw that. So that's not doing so well either, Dan.
Wow. So About My Father's kicking the machine's ass. There it is.
It was good. Oh boy. As of June 22nd, so this weekend, About My Father has grossed $11 million.
Oh.
And that's so good.
That's like $100 million, $150 million movie in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah, for sure. So that's too bad. But I haven't looked at any of the Rotten Tomatoes because I am trying to steer clear of tipping the bit for the end of the summer. But I hope people are liking it. If they see it, not many people have seen it apparently. But
what?
About My Father.
Oh, About My Father. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. But I saw a couple movies, and it's fun week.
So next week we're going to delve in. We're going to continue with the Twilight Saga with whatever the third movie, Eclipse, maybe.
What is yeah, it has to be, right? Because the last ones are Breaking Dawn or whatever.
Yeah, so it must be Eclipse. So something might happen with an eclipse. I
don't think so, because the new moon I guess because he's a new werewolf. So maybe that's what new moon means.
I have a question, Tony. At any one point, did we ever see the moon in this movie?
Well, we don't show the moon. Also, they don't need the moon to transform.
No.
So I don't understand I don't understand the title. I think it's just parts of the night, right? Twilight, new moon, eclipse, and then breaking dawn. So it's just like a night cycle.
Yeah, because every night we have an eclipse.
Every night you have a full eclipse.
I'm intrigued to see if they actually work an eclipse into the movie.
There's not a chance, man. Not a chance. Oh, I'm excited. It's going to be good. I'm glad we're doing this. I'm having a real good time with these Twilight movies.
Shannon was all like, "You're going to get very bored of them." I'm like, "No, I think we'll probably."
It turns out they're this special breed of crazy that I'm not going to get bored at all.
And I'm sure they're going to go because I mean that's the thing with this is like how are we going to we're going to have to break them apart again, right? Because
I think you have to every movie. I think
multiple times.
Yeah, I think that's how the only way that this works is they just continually bounce back and forth.
Yeah. So we'll be back next week to continue the Twilight Saga to its end point. And if you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe or even leave a comment. These are all things you can do, and we'll be back next week.
With Eclipse. Goodbye, everybody!